Content warning. The following episode contains discussion about intimate partner domestic violence that may be triggering to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Overcome by My Testimony. I am a survivor. This episode may be touchy and triggering for some people, so watch at your own discretion. We are going to talk about, well, we'll get into that. I'm going to read some statistics and then you'll see what I'm talking about. An average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. More than 12 million women and men over the course of a single year. Just under 15% of women and 4% of men in the U.S. have been injured as a result of intimate partner violence that included rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner. Survivors are 3 times as likely to meet the criteria of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Survivors are 2 times more likely to develop symptoms of depression and 3 times more likely to develop a major depressive order. Survivors are 3 times more likely to engage in self-harming behaviors. Survivors are 3 times more likely to have suicidal thoughts and 4 times more likely to attempt suicide. Survivors are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Survivors are 6 times more likely to have a substance use disorder. Usually when this topic is talked about, it's talked about after the fact. And like those statistics that I just read, they were about survivors. And this show is about survivors. And we are speaking to a survivor today. Miss Priscilla, thank you for deciding and choosing and agreeing to share your story.
Thank you for asking. Woof. just just a note, as you were reading those statistics, I was thinking about my life. And also when you asked me about this, even though this happened many, many years ago, it brought back some of the same memories and some of the same incidences in myself and what I was feeling at that time back to my remembrance. So I'm glad to be here and to be able to speak to the women and a lot of the young women today who are experiencing this in silence, that they may be able to come forward and tell their story and get out of that situation.
And I don't know if you realize that I emphasize men.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that men are victims of domestic violence, whether it be by whoever, whether
Right.
they be a child, and like these statistics say, an intimate partner.
Right.
So we are going to start. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, right.
I want you to start from the beginning of when you first encountered intimate partner violence or domestic violence as it's widely known.
As a child growing up, my parents had a very volatile relationship, to say the least. Not even volatile. My father was a white beater. I ain't even going to try to sugarcoat it. And, my mother tried to hide some of her feelings through drinking. And eventually she got tired of it and she just walked away and left us with my father.
Mm.
And my father took us to live with his mother, my grandmother, and we lived with her for the next 10 or so years. And during that time, I would see my dad with various partners. And as he had various partners, he also incited violence against them as well. Mm. So I grew up seeing a lot of this violence against women and not really having any place to go with it. I kept a lot of it internally. And I guess that kind of unconsciously set up my role to be in that same victimization or that same role as an adult.
Did your grandmother know of
Yeah, she knew.
Did she try to shield you all?
No.
You and your siblings?
Only thing she would try to do is say, my father, if you're going to do that, don't take the kids with you, do that on your own. But she didn't have any control over that. Nobody knew when my father was going to flip the script and all of a sudden go off as he would do. A lot of it did have to do with his drinking as well. And when he was not drinking, he could be great and stuff like that. But once he started drinking, all bets were off.
Did the violence stop at the women that he was seeing? Did it matriculate down to you and your siblings?
No, it's only stayed with the women. Okay. Fortunately, he did not take any of his violence out on us. Okay. And there was only one woman that finally stood up to him, Miss Barbara. I'll never forget her. She said he hit her once, and she said that's the last time you're going to put your hands on me. And I remember that. And she left him. Okay. Didn't even bat an eye. She was out. She said, "No, I'm not putting her with that." Okay.
So fast forward.
Fast forward
to when Miss Priscilla got into a relationship that came up in your relationship.
I was about 19 years old, about to have my first child. And I can remember this like it was yesterday. My son's father. And there had been hints of, his anger and his issues. But I really thought because I was having his child, how women have this fantasy thinking that if you have his child or if you do better, that won't happen, And it was New Year's Eve. And he wanted to go out. And I asked him not to go out, stay home, with me and stuff. I'm not staying home. And next thing I know, wham! I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? Next thing I know, he was all over me. And I couldn't fight him back and stuff. So he went out, and I called up some friends, and I didn't leave him right away. I don't think. I think I stuck around because like I said, I was like 8 months pregnant. Where was I gonna go? I had no place of my own. And my mom was living across the street over a bar with umpteen other people because her alcoholism had taken off, and she took me in. I did get the courage to leave him. And she helped me after that get a place and help me fix it up and again. And this insane person decides to take him back.
You're not insane now.
No, I'm saying that I was insane then. I'm not. I'm thinking about it. I was insane then, but now I kind of understand where I was coming from. This was the father of my child. He needs to be with me, and blah blah blah. My mother was heartbroken.
And did you think because she saw herself in you?
Probably both. Yeah, she saw that in me, and also she saw how he treated me, and she knew that there was something wrong. And like I said, and I told her she had to leave because he was coming back. After she had done all of this for me.
Oh, she had helped you get your own place, and she moved in with you. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So she was heartbroken after that, and we stayed together. I don't know how, but for the next couple of years, 2 or 3 years at least, and my alcoholism started to take off too at that point. And I remember we would fight almost weekly about him going out. And he wanted to go out and hang out with his friends, and I wanted to hang out with him. He didn't want me to hang out with him, and he'd beat me from one side of the house to the other and leave me sitting there crying and stuff. And finally, and this is the one time I say alcohol saved my life. I was drinking with a friend of mine across the hall from the apartment we lived in, and she said, I just came from downstairs and I saw James, which was his name was, coming out of the basement. I'm like, what is he coming out of the basement? There was an apartment down there and a lady that lived down there. So we knew where he was coming from. So I'm like, what is he doing coming from down he ain't got no business down there. So when he came upstairs, I asked him about it. I said, what were you doing in the basement? Oh, you're checking up on me now. Okay, I'm gonna take care of this when I come back. And I knew what that meant. And I told my friend, I said, we were drinking. I said, I'm gonna call my brother. I can't take another beating. And I called my brother. God rest his soul. He came and got me and took me and the baby out of there. Because at this point, his abuse was not only affecting me, it was also affecting the baby.
So it did matriculate down to your kids. Okay.
So we got out of there, and when I went back to get the rest of my things, he had tore up all of our pictures, all the baby pictures, all the pictures and everything, and left them sitting on the bed. That was pretty much the last time I saw him for the next 10 years. And then what that led me to was a cycle of drinking, promiscuity, some with good relationships, some were not so good relationships, until one day I got sober. And I would like to say the story ended there, but it
How
didn't.
long did it take you to get sober?
I was almost 30.
And your drinking started
at 16. Yeah. And I was what they call a blackout drunk. So I would drink and I would not know a lot of what happened the night before.
So you said your first relationship, your first encounter in your own relationship with DV started at 19. So where did the drinking come from starting at 16?
Oh, hanging out with my friends, and I wanted to be a part of. You see me now, I mean, I'm a little healthier looking, but back then I was like this. I was nicknamed the Black Twiggy, Olive Oil, I mean, all kinds of lovely names like that. So in order to feel a part of, I started drinking, and the alcohol helped me to be more free and be more, I thought, confident. And but what it really did was it continued to hide some of the low self-esteem, the low self-worth, the not feeling a part of, not feeling loved. It hid all of those feelings so that I could put on this mask. So people really didn't know what was going on inside of me. I didn't even know what was going on inside of me during that time. So from 16 to when I met my son's father, alcohol was like a big part of my life. And so
you started to say when you finally got sober.
When I finally got sober, I thought that a lot of that was going away, and I met a man in sobriety who I thought I loved. I got pregnant. I had an abortion, and I wound up having to leave him because he was also violent. And I was about 2 years sober.
In your fights or your battles with your different intimate partners, did you ever try to fight back? Why?
I didn't feel like I could.
Why did you feel like you could?
I just didn't feel worthy. I felt I deserved it.
Why did you feel like you deserved it?
Because I wasn't good enough. I didn't think I was good enough for a long time. Sorry? You know, people see me today. And, wow, I didn't think this was going to happen. And it took me a while to get to be able say that I was worthy, to accept the fact that I didn't have to take that stuff from men or anybody else, let alone men. A lot of times people talk about, oh, I'm sober a year, I'm sober 2 years, I'm sober 5 years. Well, your body may have detoxed from the alcohol, but it takes us a while to detox and to um, from the old habits, all brain stuff that people have been telling you, including yourself, for years, to get away from that low self-esteem and that low self-worth. So a lot of times people in early recovery, they see themselves, oh, I'm sober today. No, you ain't sober yet. You're just not drinking. You know, you ain't sober yet until you find out who you really are and really begin to identify what some of the things that kept you, in those kind of relationships and doing those kind of things, even though you're sober, you know.
So how long did it take you to get
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
not just um physically sober, but mentally
Mentally
sober?
sober took me like 10, 15 years because I had been, well, also the fact that I got sober when I was relatively young. I celebrated my 30th birthday sober. Now, let me put it, I celebrated my 30th birthday not drinking.
Okay.
I wasn't sober yet, but I
Okay.
had not been drinking for about almost a year. Um, so I still wanted, to hang out and party and do all the things that people were doing. So I had to try to find a way to do some of those things without drinking. And I also had to change my mindset. I also had to, what does sober living look like? And I had some really good role models back in New York and New Jersey when I was coming up. And strong women who were forging their own in their sobriety. They would, not dependent on men or anybody else to take care of their needs. They were taking care of themselves and they weren't drinking. I'm like, whoa, you could do that? Like, and so it took me a good 10, 15 years to get the mind right so that I knew that I was not going to take that stuff anymore and that I was good enough and worthy of all the good things that God had already ordained for me. But I didn't know that. We come into the knowledge of Christ and we begin to see how he's worked in our lives, but we really don't understand that again until you get sober and you really start to work on how do I change that narrative? How do I change that mindset? And it means doing things for myself, better things for myself.
How did you get to that point, and what were those things that you did for yourself?
Therapy, lots of therapy, lots of
And
me.
were you in the faith at that time?
Kind of, sort of. Not
Okay.
as strong as I
Okay.
am now, but I was.
Okay. I may
That's
have
okay.
found some sarcasm in there because a lot of people think you just because you're in the faith you don't need the therapy.
Oh no,
But
no, no.
he put the desire for people to be therapists on the earth for a reason because they go hand it can go hand in hand. It works hand in hand.
It
You
does.
can have God and a
And therapists.
therapist,
That's right.
not just God, your pastor, because your pastor may not be a therapist.
Right.
So you could have God, a therapist,
And a
an
pastor.
accountability partner, and a therapist.
Right.
You just have to put that out
Oh,
there.
no problem. No, I get it. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I think that a lot of us in the faith think that going to therapy is not is turning its back on what God can do. And I know is that how God works through us. It works through therapy and people who have some understanding of what we've been through to get us to a better place by helping us look at those things that have been hindrances to us for many years.
Because why? We're better together,
Together.
right? That's the
Hey,
theme of our church at the
at this time,
moment. At
right?
the moment of this recording.
Right. So yeah, so you need all of that and also a community of people. I came back I've been like always believing in God all the way through because I even tried a couple of times going to God and trying to get rid of my alcoholism. That didn't work. Just so you know, I tried and not that you should not try it and it may work for you, but it didn't work for me, unfortunately. I had to go to AA and I tell anybody in a minute the self-help programs are fabulous. They will help you because it's a community of people that have been where you've been. So they know the struggles. They know the ins and outs of what you're feeling, so they can help you until you're able to help yourself. Um, so between all of that, that also helped me to start changing the mindset. That started helping me change the messages, and led me to where I am today. Thank you, Jesus.
Where are you today?
Today, I'm in a wonderful relationship. I'm married. We have our ups and downs. Don't think it's perfect, but we have. Um, I've retired from nursing. I'm now working on my artist stuff, and I enjoy that immensely. And I belong to a wonderful church, Point of Praise, Family Life Center, Pastor Lewis. Um, and my life is really full today. I have people that love me. I have people that care about me. Most importantly, I care about me. I love me today, which if you had asked me this 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to say this to you, but I do today.
We love you too, Miss Priscilla.
Thank you.
What would you tell Priscilla? What was Priscilla at? Do you mind me saying your age?
Mm-mm.
What would you tell? What would Priscilla at 74 tell Priscilla at? I'm not even gonna go to 19. At 16, when before she picked up that bottle, or
Ooh.
when she picked up the bottle, or right after she picked up the first bottle.
I couldn't tell her much. You know why?
Why?
She had to go through what she went through in order to get to where she is today.
Okay.
Had I said anything to maybe dissuade her, her life would not have gone the way it did. She wouldn't be able to maybe sit here and tell you the things she's telling you about because she may not have experienced them. Maybe she would have other experiences and other things happen. But the woman I am today is because of what I went through from the age since the day I was born until today. And a lot of people get that, like, oh, well, if I now, no. If you had known certain things back then, you might have made different choices and you might have done different things, but it may not have been the path that God had for you. See, I understand today that this is the path that God had for me. I wasn't supposed to go anyplace else. Because my mind, when I was 16, I was going to be this great big nurse supervisor, in the nursing field, and I was going to do all these great things in nursing. Yeah, I did some great things, but that wasn't the path that God had for me. He had me to go through what I went through so that I could help others go through what they were going through. Because for 11 years, I was a counselor. So I was able to help people do some of the things that I talk about.
So you had that dream of being a nurse, even through the domestic violence, even in the alcoholism, and still was able to achieve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
Some
able.
dreams don't die. I
Oh,
said some dreams don't die.
hey, I tell anybody, but God, am I sitting here today? But God had me go through that so that I could be here today. I can't complain about anything I have no regrets about my life. My life is what it is. That's why, people, you want to know my life? I'll tell you my life story. I don't have a problem with it. It is what it is because that's who made me. That's what made me, you know. So.
So, and she it's true that she says that because I know, unfortunately, many DV survivors, but so many are so scared and so embarrassed, so ashamed of telling their story.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, oh, not yet, not yet. I don't want to. I don't want to because of whether it be because the father is there, because they now have children by their perpetrator, and they don't want to do whatever the reason was of them not saying yes. Um, it's taboo because we don't even talk about it even in the church as we're filming this in the church. So hopefully this will be a door opener to have this conversation within the walls of the church because people are coming into the church dealing with these situations and they don't, like she said, she felt like she didn't have anybody to talk to, and they feel like they don't have anybody to talk to. That is the purpose of this show. That is and that should be the purpose of the church. That people should walk in and be able to find someone they can talk to about whatever they're going through with open arms, without judgment.
Without judgment.
But that is why I do this show, because not a lot of people share their stories, and y'all know that have been a watcher and a subscriber and a follower of Life in the Daylight Studios for however long I've had my channel, that I'm an advocate of telling your story, because I've told mine, and it's so freeing. It's such a blessing to share your story. Nobody should be ashamed of anything they've gone on. And yes, some of your situations may be taboo. Some of them may be shameful. You may be embarrassed, but tell your story.
Can I just speak to that a minute?
Yes.
As far as one of the biggest things I think that holds women down is the shame and the guilt that we feel about our situations and about what we've gone through. And one of the things that helped me immensely was letting go of that through therapy, through talking to people, through just putting my story out there and letting it go. Because you know what? And once I let it go, then the shame and the guilt has no power over me anymore. And that's how I can continue to grow. As long as I hold it in and keep it to myself, guess what? The shame and the guilt is going to eat you up alive.
And you're lighter when you release.
Oh, please, yes.
When you release the pain or whatever you're going through, you're just holding on to stress. You're essentially just holding on to stress.
Right.
And when you let that go, you feel lighter. You feel more free.
Freedom.
You get to the point where, okay, what's next? I'm ready for the next. I'm ready for the next day.
Exactly.
I'll figure out how to get through it.
Exactly. And all of that, and everything I've gone through in my life helped me to and now that I'm in Christ fully, immersed, can't take it away from me. Helped me to now deal with other issues that come up in my life. For those of you who don't know, I lost my son about 5 years ago to cancer. And he was the one that made me a mother. He was the son of the first perpetrator. And wasn't sure how I was going to get through it, but I knew that if I relied on God and the people around me, that I would be okay. And that's how. But had I not had my background, where I was used to, telling people I'm hurting, I'm crying, and I'm not good, whatever. If I had not been used to doing that, when my son passed, who knows? I might have been back to drinking. I could have been back out there being promiscuous. There's a lot of things that I could have gone back to get rid of the pain, but I knew that none of those things were going to work over the long haul. It would have been just a temporary fix. I would have still had to deal with the pain. And that's what we have to do. So
you wouldn't tell me about your 16-year-old self. Would you tell your 19-year-old self, or the same thing?
Same thing.
Okay. So what would you tell a viewer, a lady or a man, young or old, that is going through what you went through?
Talk to somebody. Get help. From the alcoholism to the domestic violence. And know that you're not alone. That you're not going through this alone. You're not the only one. You won't be the last. And hopefully, you're not the first. And hopefully you might be the last. In your family, in your situation, in your community. You could be the next light that's shining for somebody else behind you to come and take care of themselves.
I thank you, Miss Priscilla, for doing this.
You're quite welcome.
So if you know anybody that is a DV survivor or is currently in the situation, and you know it, talk to that person. Show them this episode.
Yeah, show them this episode. If they need to talk to me, tell them to call me.
Show them this episode. Wear your purple in honor of them. because it's not just for DV, because they are royalty.
Yes.
No matter what they are going through,
Thank
they
you.
are royalty.
Royalty.
And so are you if you are a viewer of this and that you are DV in the living in a DV situation currently. You are royalty, so you deserve better than that situation that you are in.
That's right.
Know that about yourself.
And you're not that situation that you're in. You're not that victim. You are a hero. Be your own hero. Be in your own strength.
And if you know anybody that has a powerful testimony that you think they should share, if you have a powerful testimony that you would like to share, email us. The email is right there at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for watching. And as always, be the daylight in someone else's life and enjoy the daylight in yours because there is daylight.
It means freedom, freedom from the shame, the guilt, and the burdens that I carried for many years, thinking that I was less than, not good enough, and not worthy. Today I walk with Christ and I know that I am worthy because I am His child. And by telling my testimony, I also let others know that there's hope for them as well, that they are not alone in their struggles, and that there is peace and love to be had.
If you or someone you know is currently living in a domestic violence situation, there are resources. National Domestic Violence Hotline. Call 1-800-799-7233. Text BEGIN, BEGIN, to 8788 or visit their website at thehotline.org. If you or someone you know is dealing with alcohol abuse, visit the website for the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism at niaaa.nih.gov.